Hey, Frontline fans, welcome back to Comic Frontline. And fans, you're back with me, Mike Spider Slayer, bringing you that all-important Convergence review so you, the fans, can make a decision on what Convergence books to buy. Guys, as promised here on Comic Frontline, we continue to cover every Convergence DC book that there is. And today, Mike Spider Slayer is going to bring you Convergence, the Green Lantern Corps, issue number 1. That's right, fans. Just like a lot of these Convergence books, the same thing kind of happens over and over. You deal with the dome being up for the year. Our superheroes do not have their powers. The dome goes down, and then our heroes get their powers again, and then they wind up having to go against some kind of other city. And that's the basic premise, really, of what's going on with these tie-in books or these spin-off books, whatever you want to call them. Just each week has to deal with a different DC event. So this one really has to do with pre-crisis. So again, this book is this is Green Lantern Corps, issue number 1, and trying to find out who wrote this one. This one is written by David Gallagher and Steve Ellis, and trying to find out who the artwork. Pencils are done by Dave Gibbons. I thought the artwork was pretty good here, especially in these beginning pages. Has a nostalgic feel to it, and I'll explain why in a couple minutes. As you go along in here, you get to see, Guy Gardner's kind of the feature character in this book, which I really enjoyed. And we can see that he has some mental issues in here. And we get to see Carol Ferris in here, so I like the facial expressions on this book as well. But then at times, and then I like John Stewart in here too. But there was times in here, like towards the last page, I thought Guy got a little bit too crazy. And this page, I'm just like, dude, what's he doing riding on this bike? I'm like, what's happening here? But after I read this, I kind of understood what was going on. All right, so going back to the story, what did I think about this particular story? This story opens up with like the Justice League roll call, and he goes to Superman and Wonder Woman and Batman and Flash and Green Lantern, and he goes, no evil shall escape my sight, not Green Lantern. And then they start, no, I'm Green Lantern, and then you wind up that it's kids. They're actually pretending to be the Justice League, and I thought that was pretty cool. And there's a Gleek reference in this particular issue, which I thought was really neat. And it just reminded you of the Super Friends. But I like that nostalgic feel that the issue brought right in the beginning here. And Guy Gardner's like a PE coach, or he's part of this school. And he sits there and he tells one of the kids, he's like, oh, you guys can take turns. Why don't you be somebody else, And he's like, well, how about you be Aquaman? The kid's like, no. And then he's like, well, how about you be Hawkman? He's like, no. Gleek. Who? The kid didn't know who Gleek was. That's what I thought was really funny, because Gleek is old. These kids don't know who Gleek is. And then he's like, well, how about a bad guy? And then the kid's like, oh, yeah, well, go on. Tell me about the bad guy. And he's like, Lex Luthor, no. Toyman, no. Gorilla Grodd, no. And the kid was being so stubborn about the whole thing. Brainiac, no. Next thing, he's like, I got it. He's like, Sinestro. And it winds up setting Guy off. And and Guy right away, he's just like, he had to go see Lee Tompkins, which I thought was pretty cool, because the only version I know of Lee Tompkins is from Gotham, because I never read pre-New 52 DC Comics. So that's where my history lacks a little bit here. So we get to see he's in session with her therapy, because he was in a coma. And, he was kind of left behind, and he kind of blames Hal Jordan for his whole life going into disarray. And what happens is he has this obsession of trying to find Hal Jordan. So he goes all over the place. First off, he winds up going to Carol. And he had a relationship with Carol before this all happened. And we wind up finding out that Carol and Hal wound up getting married. And we also found out that Hal left Carol very quickly because of this whole dome situation. And she goes and she steers Guy to find out more information, goes to John Stewart. And find out what John Stewart's doing, under this dome, and he's kind of posing as this guy that creates all these structures and things like that, and kind of hates the job, but it's just a cover up. And he gives Guy information. He tells Hal where he's at. And we wound up seeing, we wound up finding out what Hal is doing, and he's really obsessed with trying to get connection to Oa and find out what's happening here. They have this huge discussion about guys like, you ruined my life and you did this to me and you did that to me, and Hal just didn't agree with what was going on. But as that whole fight was going on, we wound up seeing that the dome comes down, the lantern battery comes back up, and they're fighting to see who gets possession of the charge of the lantern battery. Hal does, and he kind of just takes off. And the one thing you wind up finding out is that Guy's back in the game, and he looks like he's going after him. So that's how the issue kind of ended. I like the issue for what it was. At this point, third week going into Convergence, it's a very predictable type of tie-in books. Again, I gave you the description of everything that happens. It's the way the story is delivered that doesn't make it be so repetitious. This one was a little bit different, in seeing Guy's, I guess, mentality during this whole thing. But again, there was a lot of elements that were the same too. So again, the originality compared to all these other books wasn't quite different from all of them. So I might be rambling on with this, but again, I did enjoy it for what it was. I think it was better than some of the other Convergence books. I thought it was better than average. I gave this one a 3.5, I think, out of 5 stars. Correct, 3.5 out of 5 stars. It was better than some of the other Convergence books that were out this week. If there was one that you read and if you enjoy Green Lantern, I think you're going to like this one. I think it was a good story. Again, it's just very repetitious and there's very similar elements. And after reading so many of these books, if you're a hardcore reader like I am, it does get repetitious at times. But again, Green Lantern fan, give it a try. You might be happy to see Hal, Guy, and John Stewart and Carol Ferris all in this book in this type of setting. So fans, as always, thank you for watching Comic Frontline. As always, don't forget to check out comicfrontline.com. You can always go to our YouTube channel and check out our live show every Tuesday night at 9:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Or if you don't have time to watch us, you can also listen to us on iTunes as well, where you can download our episodes and listen to us on the go. So fans, as always, thank you for watching Comic Frontline, and into that next comic book review. This is Mike Spider Slayer signing off. Thanks for watching, fans. Take care. Bye.